What if the key to happiness isn't about gaining more, but letting go? We live in a world that tells us to hold on to success, relationships, memories, and even identities we've outgrown. Society glorifies attachment, making us believe that the more we accumulate, whether it's wealth, status, or experiences, the more valuable our lives become. But what if this very attachment is the reason we suffer? Think about it. Have you ever felt anxious about the future, burdened by past regrets, or afraid of losing something you love? That's the weight of attachment. We cling to things, believing they define us. But the tighter we hold on, the more we struggle. It's like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Now, imagine opening your hand, releasing control, letting go. Suddenly, there is ease, space, and freedom. This is the essence of Zen wisdom. Not losing, but gaining something far greater: peace. Zen teaches that suffering doesn't come from pain itself, but from our refusal to accept it. We resist change, we fear uncertainty, and we hold on to things that were never meant to stay. But when we learn to embrace impermanence, to detach from the need to control everything, we step into true liberation. Yet, letting go is easier said than done. In a world driven by ambition, emotions, and expectations, how do we practice non-attachment without feeling disconnected? How do we release past pain without ignoring it? How do we surrender without feeling like we're giving up? That's exactly what we'll explore in this video. First, we'll uncover the wisdom of Zen and why attachment is the root of suffering. Then, we'll dive into a powerful Zen parable that reveals the secret to emotional freedom. And finally, we'll share practical techniques you can use today to let go of fear, anxiety, resentment, and anything that no longer serves you. Letting go doesn't mean losing control. It means freeing yourself from the chains of unnecessary suffering. It means choosing peace over struggle, acceptance over resistance. And once you learn this, everything in your life begins to shift. So, if you're ready to embrace the art of letting go and step into a life of clarity and inner peace, let's begin. At the heart of Zen philosophy lies a profound understanding of impermanence, non-attachment, and emptiness, three key principles that shape our experience of life and suffering. In a world that constantly changes, Zen teaches that our struggles arise not from external circumstances, but from our resistance to change. When we cling to things, whether material possessions, relationships, or even our own identities, we set ourselves up for suffering. But when we learn to let go and flow with life, we experience true peace. One of the fundamental teachings of Buddhism is anicca, or impermanence. Nothing in life stays the same. Our bodies age, relationships evolve, emotions rise and fall, and circumstances shift. Yet, we often live as if things will last forever. This illusion of permanence is what creates suffering. Think about the last time you lost something or someone important to you. The pain didn't just come from the loss itself, but from the belief that things were supposed to stay the same. We resist change because we fear the unknown, yet everything in nature moves in cycles. Just as the seasons change, so does every aspect of life. The more we embrace this truth, the less we suffer. There's an old Zen saying, "You cannot step into the same river twice." The river is always flowing, just as life is constantly shifting. When we stop trying to hold on to things, we allow life to move naturally, and in that flow, we find peace. Attachment is the root of suffering. We attach to people, outcomes, and even our own self-image. We believe that we are what we own, what others think of us, or what we have achieved. But Zen reminds us that attachment only leads to disappointment because everything is temporary. Imagine holding onto a rope that's burning your hands. The more you grip it, the more it hurts. But if you simply let go, the pain disappears. This is what happens when we release attachment. We don't lose anything essential. Rather, we free ourselves from the unnecessary burden of grasping. A powerful Zen story illustrates this concept perfectly. Two monks were traveling together when they came across a river with a strong current. A young woman stood at the edge, hesitant to cross. One of the monks, without hesitation, picked her up and carried her across the river. She thanked him, and they continued their journey. Hours passed in silence. Finally, the second monk, unable to hold back his frustration, said, "We are monks. We have taken vows to avoid contact with women, yet you carried that woman across the river." The first monk calmly replied, "I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story reflects how we hold on to things long after they have passed. The second monk was attached to an idea, a rule, and his judgment, causing unnecessary suffering. The first monk, however, acted in the moment, helped someone in need, and let go of the situation immediately. How often do we replay past events in our minds, carrying guilt, anger, or resentment? We don't suffer because of the past itself. We suffer because we refuse to let it go. Zen also teaches the idea of shunyata, or emptiness, not in the sense of nothingness, but in the understanding that nothing has a fixed, independent existence. Everything is interconnected, and our sense of self is simply a collection of experiences, thoughts, and labels we've identified with. Think about a cup. When you look at it, you see a solid object, but the cup is only useful because of the empty space inside it. Without that space, it wouldn't serve a purpose. Zen suggests that we apply this perspective to ourselves. We are not defined by what we hold on to, but by the space we create within. When we let go of rigid ideas about who we are, we become open to growth, change, and true peace. Let's take a modern example. Social media. Many of us attach our self-worth to how many likes, followers, or positive comments we receive. When someone criticizes us, we take it personally, as if our identity is under attack. But in reality, these things are fleeting. Our sense of self is much deeper than external validation. Or consider relationships. Many people hold on to toxic relationships, not because they bring happiness, but because they fear being alone. This attachment creates suffering, yet we hesitate to let go. But when we do, we make space for something healthier, whether that's solitude, self-growth, or new connections. Another common attachment is the pursuit of control. We try to control outcomes, situations, even other people's perceptions of us. But life is unpredictable. The moment we accept that we can't control everything is the moment we gain real freedom. Letting go doesn't mean suppressing emotions or detaching from life completely. It means accepting things as they are without unnecessary resistance. It means allowing joy to come and go, pain to rise and fall, and experiences to pass without grasping onto them. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free." This applies not just to relationships, but to everything in life. When we love, live, and experience freely, without the chains of attachment, we discover a deep, unshakable peace. Letting go is not just an idea. It is a practice that transforms the way we experience life. We often carry unnecessary burdens, whether they are past regrets, expectations, fears, or attachments to material things. These burdens weigh on us, clouding our minds and preventing us from truly living in the present. Zen wisdom teaches that peace is found not in accumulation, but in releasing what no longer serves us. But how do we actually do this? How do we free ourselves from emotional pain, obsessive thoughts, and the constant need for control? The journey of letting go starts with awareness, deepens with acceptance, and ultimately leads to liberation. The first step in letting go is recognizing what we are holding on to. Many times, we are so entangled in our emotions and thoughts that we don't even realize how much they control us. Through mindfulness, we can observe our attachments without judgment and begin to loosen our grip. When we take a step back and ask ourselves, "What am I clinging to and why?" we start to see how much suffering we create by resisting change. Often, we hold on to things out of fear of the unknown, fear of being alone, or fear of losing a sense of identity. But when we truly examine these fears, we realize they are illusions. The simple act of pausing and acknowledging what weighs on our minds can be the beginning of freedom. Much of our suffering comes from identifying too strongly with our thoughts, emotions, and possessions. We believe that our achievements, failures, or even the opinions of others define who we are. This attachment to the ego creates an illusion of permanence, yet nothing in life is truly fixed. Just as the clouds in the sky shift constantly, so do our circumstances, identities, and emotions. A Zen teaching reminds us that the moon does not struggle to shine. It simply exists in its natural state. Similarly, when we detach from our self-imposed labels and expectations, we become free to simply be. Letting go of the need to control how we are perceived allows us to move through life with greater ease and authenticity. One of the hardest things to let go of is the past. We replay memories, hold on to guilt, and relive painful moments as if clinging to them could somehow change what has already happened. But the past exists only in our minds. Each time we revisit old wounds, we bring them into the present, preventing ourselves from healing. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting. It means releasing the emotional weight that keeps us stuck. A powerful Zen parable tells of two monks traveling together who come across a woman struggling to cross a river. The older monk picks her up and carries her across, setting her down gently on the other side. Hours later, as they continue their journey, the younger monk is still fuming. Finally, he says, "Why did you carry that woman?" "We are not supposed to touch women." The older monk replies, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story perfectly illustrates how we often carry emotional burdens long after they should have been released. A useful exercise for letting go of the past is the fire ritual. Write down past regrets, grudges, or painful memories on a piece of paper. Then burn it or tear it into tiny pieces. This simple act symbolizes releasing the burden and making space for peace. While it may not instantly erase emotional pain, it serves as a powerful reminder that we have the choice to move forward. Another key to letting go is surrendering control. We spend so much energy trying to predict outcomes, control how others see us, or manipulate situations to fit our expectations. But the more we try to control, the more we suffer. Life is unpredictable, and Zen teaches that true peace comes from flowing with change rather than resisting it. Imagine a river encountering a rock. It does not try to push the rock away. It simply flows around it. When we accept that uncertainty is a natural part of life, we begin to trust the process rather than fear it. A simple meditation practice can help with this. Sitting in stillness, focusing on the breath, and silently repeating the phrase, "Let it be." With each exhale, we release the need to control, and with each inhale, we welcome acceptance. Material attachments also play a significant role in our inability to let go. We live in a society that constantly tells us that happiness comes from acquiring more possessions, more success, more validation. Yet Zen wisdom teaches that true peace is found in simplicity. The less we own, the lighter we feel. Minimalism is not just about decluttering our homes, but also decluttering our minds. When we let go of excess, whether it be objects, obligations, or distractions, we create space for what truly matters. A helpful practice is to choose 3 things each day to release, whether it's an object we no longer need, a negative thought pattern, or an unnecessary task. Over time, this habit cultivates a mindset of freedom and clarity. Beyond the physical and mental aspects of letting go, there's also the practice of emotional surrender. We often resist feelings that make us uncomfortable: sadness, disappointment, uncertainty. But resistance only strengthens them. Zen teaches that instead of pushing emotions away, we should allow them to arise, observe them without judgment, and let them pass like clouds in the sky. A common misconception is that letting go means suppressing emotions, but in reality, it means fully experiencing them and then allowing them to move through us. When we resist, we suffer. When we accept, we find peace. Letting go is not a one-time decision. It is an ongoing practice. Every day, we are faced with opportunities to release something that no longer serves us. It might be a grudge, a fear, a belief, or an expectation. The more we embrace this process, the more we realize that peace is not found in holding on. It is found in surrendering. The beauty of Zen wisdom is that it teaches us to trust the unfolding of life, to release the need for control, and to find stillness in the midst of change. Imagine yourself at the edge of a cliff, holding onto a rope that is cutting into your hands. You are exhausted, struggling, afraid to let go. But then you look down and realize that the ground is only a few feet below. You have been holding on for no reason. The moment you release the rope, you land safely. This is the reality of most of our attachments. We hold on out of habit, out of fear. But in the end, we realize that letting go was never as scary as we thought. It was the key to our freedom. So, take a deep breath. Close your eyes. What are you holding on to that is no longer serving you? Are you ready to release it? Letting go does not mean losing. It means gaining the space to embrace what truly matters. When we loosen our grip, we make room for peace, joy, and a life free from unnecessary suffering. Letting go sounds simple in theory, yet in practice, it can feel like one of the hardest things to do. Why is it so difficult? The primary reason is fear. We fear the unknown, fear losing control, and fear that if we let go, we might regret it. Our attachments, whether to people, past experiences, or even painful emotions, become a part of our identity. We convince ourselves that holding on is safer than releasing, but in reality, clinging only creates suffering. Zen wisdom teaches that the tighter we grasp, the more we struggle. True peace comes when we release our need for control and trust in the natural flow of life. One of the biggest challenges in letting go is dealing with loss and change. Change is an inevitable part of life, yet we resist it because it threatens our sense of stability. Losing a loved one, a job, or even a version of ourselves that we once valued can be incredibly painful. However, resistance only prolongs suffering. Zen teaches that everything is impermanent. Just as the seasons change, so too does everything in life. Nothing lasts forever, and that includes our pain. When we accept that change is a natural process, we begin to loosen our grip and allow ourselves to heal. Instead of seeing loss as an ending, we can shift our perspective and see it as a transition, an opportunity for growth. A practical way to ease the pain of change is to focus on gratitude. Instead of mourning what has been lost, reflect on what was gained. If a relationship ends, rather than dwelling on the sadness, recognize the lessons and experiences it brought. If a job is lost, rather than fearing the unknown, embrace the possibility of new opportunities. Shifting from resistance to gratitude allows us to move forward with a lighter heart. Toxic relationships and emotional baggage also make letting go incredibly difficult. We often hold on to people who no longer serve our well-being out of guilt, fear of loneliness, or hope that they will change. Zen teaches that clinging to unhealthy relationships only drains our energy and prevents us from finding true peace. Letting go of toxic relationships doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we prioritize our well-being. If a relationship is filled with negativity, manipulation, or one-sided effort, it may be time to step away. This can be painful, but by releasing toxic ties, we make space for healthier connections. One way to practice detachment in relationships is to set clear boundaries. Zen monks often emphasize the importance of compassionate detachment, loving others without attachment. This means offering kindness and presence without expecting anything in return. When we love with attachment, we seek validation and control. But when we love with detachment, we appreciate others as they are, without needing them to fulfill our expectations. Zen monks practice detachment daily, not just from relationships, but from all aspects of life. They live simply with few possessions and focus on the present moment. This doesn't mean they lack emotions or care less. It means they do not cling to what they cannot control. Their practice of mindfulness helps them accept life as it comes, rather than resisting or forcing outcomes. A simple way to integrate this wisdom into daily life is to adopt a letting go ritual. Every evening, take a few moments to reflect on the day and consciously release any lingering stress, frustrations, or attachments. This could be done through meditation, journaling, or even silently affirming, "I release what no longer serves me." Over time, this practice trains the mind to let go more naturally. For those struggling with emotional resistance, a step-by-step approach can make the process easier. Start small. Choose one thing to let go of each day. This could be a minor annoyance, an old belief that no longer serves you, or an unnecessary possession. Gradually, build up to deeper emotional attachments. When painful emotions arise, instead of suppressing them, observe them with curiosity. Ask yourself, why am I holding on to this? Is it serving me? Often, the simple act of awareness weakens the emotional grip we have on our attachments. Another powerful method is visualization. Close your eyes and imagine holding onto a rope tautly, your hands aching from the pressure. Now, visualize yourself gently releasing the rope, feeling the relief and freedom that comes with it. This exercise can serve as a reminder that letting go is not about losing, it's about gaining inner peace. Letting go is a process, not a one-time event. Some days will be easier than others, and setbacks are normal. The key is to be patient and compassionate with yourself. With each step, the burden becomes lighter, and the path to inner peace becomes clearer. Zen wisdom reminds us that we do not have to force change. We only need to create the conditions for it to happen naturally. When we stop resisting, life flows effortlessly, and true peace becomes possible. Letting go is not about losing, it's about gaining freedom. Throughout this journey, we've explored how attachment creates suffering, how resistance to change holds us back, and how true inner peace is found when we release what no longer serves us. The teachings of Zen remind us that life is impermanent, and clinging only leads to unnecessary pain. When we learn to let go, whether it's of expectations, past regrets, toxic relationships, or the illusion of control, we open ourselves up to a life of greater clarity, joy, and freedom. Detachment is not about indifference. It doesn't mean we stop caring or feeling emotions. Instead, it means we engage with life fully, but without the constant fear of losing what we have. Acceptance is the key. When we accept life as it is, rather than how we think it should be, we free ourselves from the cycle of suffering. Zen monks have practiced this wisdom for centuries, and their peaceful presence is a testament to its power. But you don't have to be a monk to embrace this philosophy. You can start right where you are today. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a lighter heart, free from the mental burdens that have been weighing you down. Imagine moving through life without being constantly pulled by the past or anxious about the future. This is the gift of letting go. And the best part? You don't have to change everything at once. Small steps make all the difference. So, here's a challenge for you. Try letting go of one small attachment today. It could be a grudge, an expectation, or even a material possession that no longer adds value to your life. Take a deep breath, acknowledge it, and then release it. Let it go. And if you're willing, share your experience in the comments below. What did you let go of? How did it feel? Your journey may inspire someone else to start theirs. Ultimately, true peace comes from within. No amount of external success, possessions, or validation can replace the tranquility that arises when we stop clinging. When we surrender to the flow of life, we begin to experience the present moment fully, without fear or resistance. This is where real happiness is found, not in holding on, but in learning to let go. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom on living a peaceful and fulfilling life. And remember, peace isn't something you find out there, it's something you create within.